Welcome in. Good afternoon. It's the Take a Puncher show. Roman Kelly is out today. He is over in Midway, helping the men's and women's basketball teams achieve victory tonight. But, I'm Matt Childress. I'm here to cover for him. I'm also here with JR and Curtis Phillips. I know it's been a little bit since I got to hop on with you guys. I just wanted to go check in before we get started. How have you guys been? How's y'all's picks been doing? Something going? What's been going on with Take a Puncher since my last time on?
Yeah, going good, Matt. Good to have you on again. We always love to have you on the Ticket Puncher show. But everything's been well. For me, the punches haven't been going as well. Well, at least in January they wasn't. So glad we got the calendar flipped to February, and I'm ready to bounce back and have a great month. But other than that, I'm doing well.
JR?
Yeah, same. Welcome back, Matt. Glad to have you. I told Roman last time you hosted that he might need to start looking for a new job. He did such a dang good job. But January's been rough, man. I've been kind of converting over to the unders more so than the overs, just because it seems like people have been lackadaisical and not hitting their lines that they've hit for the last 80 games in a row until we bet on them. So switching things up, but looking to get things jump started here in February.
January has been, really odd. I mean, like I give out a pick every day on running with Rowan him earlier. I don't really give out a lot of picks on here. I usually just transfer Rowan's picks over. But in the month of January, I had 3 straight spells where I missed 4 or 5 in a row, and then would hit one, miss 4 or 5 in a row, hit one, miss 4 or 5 in a row again. To the point where I actually texted Roman. I said, if I don't hit tomorrow, I actually refuse to give out picks to you guys anymore because I'm actually selling harder than a retail worker at this point. This is ridiculous, but it's always fun to be back. I enjoy talking with you guys. I enjoy getting to see your all's space of this show. To jump into it, I just kind of want to get into the main point for me because, I probably won't be on with you guys the rest of the week, and that's the Super Bowl coming up this weekend. That's the big doll. That's the big show. The number one televised event we have every single year in the world of sports. I feel like there's a lot to talk about here. The first one I want to touch on with you guys is this is a Super Bowl where both quarterbacks are kind of beat up to the point where I know Drake May, suffered his shoulder injury against the Broncos, and it seems like he's saying that, he's back and throwing in practice again. It's feeling good. But then, you saw Sam Darnold. I think he was it in the divisional round. He suffered his oblique injury, but he's been dealing with that for a while. And then just this past week, he kind of said the same thing that, it's feeling good. It's not bothering him anymore. He's ready to go. They're obviously both going to play. Do you think there's a little bit of this is the Super Bowl, even if I am hurt, I'm just going to say I'm okay? Or do you think that these guys really are at 100%? JR, I'll let you go first.
Yeah, I definitely don't think he's at 100%. But, the NFL has that special icy hot that they'll slap on it and everything and be all right. So
got that NFL blitz juice?
Oh, yeah. A little bit of NFL potion there. But I think he wouldn't miss it for the world, especially, man, with all the scrutiny that he's had to deal with over his career with, being number 1 overall to the Jets, that didn't go well. Being a journeyman the last few years, learning from his time at San Fran and some other places. But now that he's on a really damn good team, I don't think they're gonna have to carry him out on a stretcher before he bows out. But I hope he goes out there and I hope he performs really well.
I think so too. Curtis, you got any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree as well. Both guys dealing with few injuries. I believe Sam Darnold with the oblique and Drake May with the shoulder, but these guys, they're going to play through it, and this is nothing that's they're not going to let that try to get in the media that, oh, I was banged up in the Super Bowl. Yeah, they're probably not 100%, but I don't think you're going to notice that in the Super Bowl when they're playing and those pads are on. It's time to win, so.
I'm right there with you guys. I feel like this is one of the few events of the year that, no matter what you're dealing with, you're going to play in it. Just like the NBA Finals, just like the College Basketball National Championship, College Football Playoff Championship. You're going to figure out a way. If you can physically piece your bones together and get out there, you're going to find a way to do it. Both these dudes are ballers. Drake May, obviously the standout sophomore of the season. Sam Darnold, the great story of technically this is his second Super Bowl he's been to. He went as a backup with San Francisco before, but this is his first one he's getting to start in. He's a guy, what has he played for, like 5 or 6 teams now? The Vikings obviously pass up on him. That's still a questionable decision, but he's here.
Not anymore with the GM being fired.
That's true. That's another point. This game for me, I mean, I'm a Patriots fan, so I'm biased. So I'm extremely excited for this football game. But one thing that I am looking for in this game is the matchup between Jackson Smith and Jigba and Christian Gonzalez. The Patriots are a team who play heavy coverage, but they allow Christian just kind of shut down one side of the field. They're like, hey, you take care of the left side, you get on their best player. The rest of our guys are going to sit back, and then we're going to send pressure at the quarterback. We're going to make him have to throw to his second, third, or fourth option. I think this is going to be one that, for like the real football heads out there, something to watch. This is arguably the best defensive back in the NFL this season, going up against probably the easiest wide receiver in the NFL this season. I think this is a matchup that can really turn the lights on out there on this during this game, and I think can really open up some interesting options if you're looking at plays for this game. So I kind of wanted to get to that. Is there anything you guys are looking for specifically in the Super Bowl, whether that be picture leaning towards or just, matchups like Jackson Smith and Christian Gonzalez or anything that might surprise viewers coming in this matchup? Curtis, I'll start with you.
Yep.
Yeah, first, there hasn't been too many props that I've been leaning towards, but as the weeks go by and we're getting closer to the game, I'm finding a few more props that I'm tending to like. First one being Drake Mays under 220.5 passing yards. We've seen that Patriots offense and that pass offense specifically not be the same in the playoffs. He did cash versus the Chargers, but he's really been struggling to pass, especially against the few of the top defenses. You face the Texans, the Broncos, and now you're going against another top defense in the Seahawks. And I'm going to exclude the Rams game. The Rams, they've put up some points the last two games versus the Seahawks, but McVay, if you give him time and there's good weather, McVay, I think, can scheme up for any defense in the entire NFL. So I'm going to just exclude those games. But the last QB to go over 220.5 passing yards was Cam Ward back in November. So Seahawks have played 6 games outside of the 2 Rams games. And I think it's just going to be tough sledding for Patriots offense. I'm sorry to say that, Matt. But, yeah, like I said, the last 6 games, no QB has had 221.5 passing yards. Drake May has been using his feet a little bit more often in the playoffs as well. So that was one prop I was looking at. And then also the Patriots team total under 20.5 at -125. The Seahawks I'm excluding the Rams games again because obviously, like I said, that Rams offense is just lethal. They can score on anybody. But outside of those 2 games, well, I guess the 3 games, Seahawks have gave up 21 points only 3 times outside of those 3 games all season. So I think I do lean towards the full game under, but I don't see Patriots getting to 21 unless they force a few turnovers in Seattle territory where they get short fields. I think that would be the only way that they get to 21. But I'm probably going to take that Patriots team total under and also lean to the full game under because the Patriots defense has played pretty well throughout the playoffs as well. Only, I believe, giving up around 8 or 9 points. So yeah, those are 2 that I was looking at.
JR, before I get to you, I actually want to come back at you, Curtis, real quick. I want to ask you something because of the way, because I agree with you. I think that the Seahawks defense it's the 6th best defense in the league. The Patriots have had to play 3 of the top 5 so far through their playoff run. Drake May has not played well. And honestly, the Broncos game, you can kind of call a wash, I guess, because the entire second half, neither quarterback could really do anything. So you didn't really get to see anybody heat up. But in his previous games before that, he did not play well. And the defense really had to step up. They lead the playoffs in sacks and pressures. Do you think that gives the Patriots an advantage in a game like this to the point where the defense has had to win games for them already and they haven't had to rely on Drake May? Or do you think the Seahawks defense is kind of just like the immovable force versus the unstoppable object and, you're going to see one prevail and it's not going to be the Patriots this time?
Yeah, it's tough to predict because I think we've been talking about Seahawks being the best team since probably about middle of the year. We really didn't know how true that was, but they've kind of showed us that they're as good as what's the word, as projected, I guess.
Mhm.
But I think Patriots defense will play well, but at the same time, I think this is the best quarterback you faced in the playoffs, in my opinion, and the
I
best
agree with
running
that.
back. So I think it will be a tougher task for that defense because you're going up against probably the best offense you faced in the playoffs. So I'm curious to see how those styles will clash against each other, but it'll be interesting.
JR?
Yeah. I'd say, you know, we are very recency biased. I think the weather in that last game, kind of left a bad taste in our mouths. It was very nasty weather, but with them traveling to San Fran, playing in that beautiful arena, I don't know the exact weather, but I can only imagine what it's going to be. I think we'll get a really good game. I think the adrenaline and just the overall, performance will be top tier. I think it's hard to judge off of an entire season when it comes to a game like this. I think both teams will be really prepared, and especially when you give each team 3 weeks, with a little bit over 2.5 weeks, almost closer to the full three. Like when you give them that much time to prep for one another is when you can really game plan. Most teams only game plan, in my opinion, for maybe like the first quarter, first couple drives, things like that. But both teams are fully healthy. I think it's just going to come down to who can make plays, who can win the turnover battle. And I think the X factor in this, I think a blessing in disguise was Charbonnet going down and Kenneth Walker emerging as a dual threat full-time back now. I think that's scarier than anything because he looked like the black version of Christian McCaffrey out there the last couple games, which is terrifying, man. So I think they're going to unlock his receiving game, and I got some props that we can definitely capitalize off of that. I think the last game showed us that that's going to be the game plan. Stop Kenneth Walker, or we're just going to beat you, with our defense.
I think that's a really good point. I mean, the resurgence of Kenneth Walker definitely poses a threat to the Patriots defense. They have had a great D-line throughout the playoffs, and they have really focused on stopping teams' run game. So I agree with you. I think that they will try and use him more in a passing role and kind of get Sam Darnold going, which I think it's one of those where I feel like this game – I want to sit here and look at you guys and tell you that it's going to be similar to like the Rams-Seahawks game where it's just going to be a shootout, but I don't think this is what this is. I think it's going to be a serious, heavily defensive matchup. I think it's going to be a slugfest. I think it's going to be another really ugly game. I did look into it. It's supposed to be really nice weather. It's supposed to be a high of 65, a low of 55. And this is going to be, midday to midnight of San Francisco. It's going to be perfect weather for both of these teams, so nobody really gets an advantage there. I want to pose a question to you guys before we get to – I was going to ask you all, like you said you had some picks for the Super Bowl. There's been some discussion throughout the week of, because of how the AFC Championship went down, do you think that the NFL moves to push these championships and the Super Bowl to only domes moving forward?
JR has a strong take on that.
My two biggest arguments, man, is when you pay these guys $50 million, $55 million, and it's increasing this next year. Like, the one thing we want to see as fans who put our butts in these seats, especially in cold weather environments, is we want to see a good product. And when we got games with 8, 9, 10, 12 turnovers, I mean, I get it. It's the nostalgia, the Buffalo, jumping through snow, breaking tables.
Say it, JR. Say it.
But at the same time, if I'm going to pay $600, $700, $800 tickets, I don't want to freeze my cheeks off and watch 11 turnovers. I can't agree with that. But if you had a retractable dome, I feel like it makes that argument so much easier. If you want to play in elements, whether it's fan votings or, I think Indianapolis does a really good job at balancing it, even though they really don't open it up in the winter. But you can enjoy it in the summer months and things like that. But, to pay that type of money for certain tickets and, you can't go to certain cities for Super Bowl because they don't host it there, really. I think the last decent one we saw was the Chicago Colts and Bears
Super Bowl.
You think so? I don't.
The weather in that game was raining, but it was the one that Peyton won. That was against the Bears, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
Yes,
so
yes.
like that's the
Was
last
that the Devin
decent
Hester
one
return
in a
game,
cold
or?
weather environment that I can remember.
Yes, it was. Oh,
Don't
remind
get me on
me,
my
Matt.
soapbox. I can talk about this all day. It's building another arena after you've already had an arena for 50 years, and then you build the same exact arena with really no improvements except they add seat warmers. It makes no sense, i.e. Buffalo.
Or the Tennessee Titans. They've done the same thing this year. I mean, it's bigger and it's bigger and better, but I guess I am on the same side you are, whereas I understand, like you said, the nostalgia factor of I remember growing up a kid watching Detroit and Megatron go crazy in the snow all the time with Matthew Stafford. I get it. We all have those memories and it's fun to watch. Like as a Patriots fan, I think it was the 21 season they played against the Bills in Buffalo, where I think neither team had more than like 10 passing yards. And the only reason they won was because Damian Harris ripped off like a 60-yard run to play and it ended like 10-3. It's like, I understand how some people like that, but I want to, especially in the playoffs, I want to see these teams play at their highest possible capacity. It doesn't need to be 1,000 points in the game, but I don't want to see what we saw in the AFC Championship game where Mike Vrabel's drawing up plays to throw the ball out of bounds. Like, that's just not fun.
Or you got 10 yards at halftime. Like,
it's and then
$50 million quarterback and 10 yards at halftime. Nobody wants to see that.
You made a great point that, it comes down to people pay to go see that. It's like, dude, I didn't come pay to watch Drake May run out of bounds on purpose. I didn't come pay to watch us get 10 yards at halftime. So I'm right there with you. I think that we need to start moving these to domes or acquiring these teams to play in domes. But it's one of those things that you brought up. Buffalo already is one of the only teams that's really on some pushback about that because they get a serious home field advantage in the playoffs. Curtis, do you have any thoughts on this, or what's your take on this?
No strong take from me. I'm not mad at getting retractable domes. You'll get the best performances. You won't have to worry about 10 passing yards in a game and things like that. But some fans do love being out in the weather. You'll see guys in 10-degree weather with their shirts off and guys like that. So I say whatever keeps the fans happy the most. I wouldn't be mad at JR's point of having a fan vote and see what people like to do. So whatever makes the people happy.
I'm right there with you guys. Look, before we move on, I wanted to look into JR. You said you had some picks for the Super Bowl. I want to go see what Curtis. You kind of gave a little bit of stuff you're looking at. Do you guys have any picks that you've already solidified? Like, this is definitely something I'm looking at, or are you guys still working on something?
I got 2 sleeper locks that I've already put in. Both of these are on FanDuel. Both are plus money, ironically. Sam Darnold, 2.5 rushing attempts. He's covered this 6 of the last 7 games. It's an 85.7 hit rate at plus 112. I think they're definitely going to collapse the pocket. He's going to have to step up, even if it's a yard or 2. I definitely think he gets over, 3 rushes, whether it's to run out of bounds. He's been turning on the Jets here lately.
And is it college football or is it NFL that tracks sacks on their rushing? One of them does and one of them doesn't.
College.
Let's say it's college,
College tracks it? Okay. That helps you.
The NFL's arguing, if they throw the ball out of bounds, that they're trying to get that awarded as, like some type of sack metric, but I don't think they're going to vote on that this season or maybe next. But yeah, Sam Darnold, 2.5 rushing attempts, covered 6 of the last 7, plus 112. And then Kenneth Walker, going back into my Kenneth Walker receiving tips, exceeding 24.5 receiving yards in 4 of the last 5, 80%. He's only missed 1, and that's plus 124. So I love both of those, both on the Seattle side, which normally I don't do. But in this game, I don't want to take anything going against that Seattle defense. So I'm going to kind of steer clear right now. The only one that I eyeballed was Trevion Henderson, longest rush over 7.5. That was plus 112. They think he's not going to get loose on this defense, but I don't think 8 yards is a very hard feat to get. But that's the only one that I was thinking about dabbling with.
Curtis, you got anything?
Yeah, just those 2. The Drake May and Patriots team total. I'll take those probably later in the week. I'm sorry, Matt. I'm gonna be hopping on the Seahawks minus 4.5. I'll probably alt it up. It's like a 9.5 and see. Well, I'll have to see what the odds are on that. But yeah, that's what I have right now.
4.5.
Yeah, minus 4.5, and then I'll probably alt it for some plus money at minus 9.5. Just sprinkle on something like that. So.
Well, guys, it is the Super Bowl. There's always the fun picks out there. I know that, unfortunately, the state of Kentucky doesn't get to dabble in a lot of those, but, the rest of the country does. What do you think? You think heads or tails, and do you think the national anthem goes over or under?
I say heads, and I say under. Heads and under.
I'm a tails guy, and I'd have to do research on. I don't know who's singing the national anthem. I'll maybe have to do a little bit of research and see how they've done in the past.
I always take the over in the national anthem because most of the time, if it's somebody that I haven't genuinely heard of, like it's somebody, they're obviously bigger than the Super Bowl, but somebody not like you don't have a major artist doing it, they're going to get their TV time. They're going to go out there. They're going to try and put on a show. So I always slam the over for those. I remember last season, I was getting ready for my best friend and I to put our bets in for it. And they didn't allow us to do it last year. And I remember getting on the phone, panicking with this man, like, how do I get this bet in this fast? And I had to go do research, and they outlawed it in Kentucky to bet on the national anthem at this point, which was absolutely heartbreaking.
Do y'all have Polymarket in KY yet?
I don't know.
Yeah, I would look at Polymarket or what is the other one?
I think you do.
Yeah, if you have Polymarket, you can. All of this is legal. It was.
Oh, really?
Which ref is gonna, hold the token? Is the token going to show heads first or tails first before he flips it? There's that stigmatism on whatever faces up is what inertia or whatever they want to call it is going to roll back to. All kind of crazy conspiracy theories. But Curtis, for you on your -4.5, -112 for Seahawks cover.
Okay, that's
so 112.
Yep.
We got a few minutes left here before I get your all's official punches for the day. I wanted to talk about one more thing before we get to that point, and that is the fact that did either of you guys know that here in about 2 hours and 8 minutes we will be having the Pro Bowl on television?
Yes, I did.
I didn't even realize that until like 3 hours ago.
I hadn't seen any today.
Today
on
at 8 o'clock.
Tuesday night. Yeah, they moved it from Sundays.
What?
It's terrible marketing, in my opinion.
Is it still in Hawaii?
It's a joke at this point. I don't know where it's at.
Yeah, I don't know where it's at.
Pro Bowl.
I don't.
But I do know it is today.
Yeah, they was in a. They've been. I don't know if they've been just practicing kind of in this dome setting. I don't know where it was at though. But yeah, I did know that.
I did not know that. I was definitely gonna miss that. Thanks, man.
But
it's in San Francisco. Or Bay Area.
It's also in San Francisco.
It's in the Moscone Center.
Yeah, it's in like a
TV focused event during Super Bowl week. Yeah.
The coaches are Jerry Rice and Steve Young.
Nice.
Steve Young is a coach. That's interesting. How do you guys feel about Shedeur Sanders making the I guess it's the NFC. The AFC. The AFC.
I've been hearing a lot of conspiracy theories on that, definitely for the ratings, but I've been hearing some stuff surrounding the jersey sales. I didn't know that was like a popular thing, but just the Sanders name on a Pro Bowl jersey is picking up a lot of traction. I don't see how or what that even has to do with it, but I think it's very interesting. I don't understand what goes into it anymore. I think it's just a popularity vote at this point. If that doesn't tell you anything, if you look at his statistical category from when he took over at week 6, I think week 6 or week 8. It was after the overseas trip, somewhere in there. But I mean, he did well. Don't get me wrong. Me and Curtis and Roman, we were all big supporters. But there's other guys out there that was much more deserving. I don't know if they keep tight lips on if other guys turned it down and it just trickled down to him, or maybe someone pushed for him to get in. I don't know, but I feel like this was an executive call from the marketing team.
I can understand that, Curtis. What do you think? Do you think it's more political, or do you think that Shedeur did enough to get himself an AFC spot in the Pro Bowl?
Yeah, I don't know what the qualifications you need to get in the Pro Bowl now, but yeah, some of these reserves I don't understand. Shedeur didn't even play half the season, and yeah, like JR said, I'm thinking it's coming down to maybe some quarterbacks turning it down, because there's no way you put Shedeur and a guy like Joe Flacco in over Trevor Lawrence, who balled out in the AFC the back half of the year. So maybe he turned it down, but there was a few other AFC quarterbacks that I would have put in there over Shedeur. Yeah. But yeah, maybe, just the name on the jersey, or I don't know what the qualifications are now. So
it's definitely a really interesting situation, but we're getting here to the end of the show. So I wanted to go ahead and let you guys have the floor and give your picks out for the night. And then I'll give you guys Romans at the end.
You got any picks, Matt? A couple you want to throw out?
Actually I do. You guys go ahead and give yours out. I'll pull mine up.
Let's get it. So I got one under. Got Bruce Brown. Actually, it's over. Bruce Brown has exceeded 5.5 points in 6 straight games. So taking his over 5.5 points for Denver, minus 122. He's 100%, 6 out of 6. I really like that. Since Jokic has been back, I like that even more. Easy layups, 3 scores, easy done. And then my under is going to be Isaiah Jackson. He has failed to exceed 9.5 points in 7 of his 8. I altered this up to 10.5. His original line is 9.5. I altered it up to 10.5. It's minus 132. It's an 87.5 hit rate. And that's minus 132. But if you like the original line at under 9.5 points, minus 102, he doesn't start. He comes off the bench. He's only went over this one time. And that was against them the last time they played. He had 12, but they had a lot of injuries. So in 6 games straight, he has not been over 9.5, but I altered it up just to be safe at 10.5. So those are my 2, 1 under, 1 over.
Curtis, you got any?
Yep, I'll go quick rapid fire. Jazz -2 at minus 110. Magic team total under 105 at minus 105. And Maple Leafs team total over 2.5, minus 158 in NHL. Sorry.
I like those. Romans, he gave me where he's taking LeBron 20+ points tonight. He's also taking Bam Adebayo under 20.5. I have 2 tonight. One I'm high on is I'm taking Nate Ament higher than 26.5 points, rebounds, and assists. They're playing Ole Miss. They're playing at home. Tennessee, they're very inconsistent, but I feel like Nate Ament has really found his role in this team. I feel like this was a really big bruising basketball team that he didn't fit in. In the past couple of games, he's really showed that he stepped into that role that they need him to. And I think this Tennessee team is going to kind of roll over Ole Miss. I don't think Ole Miss is very good. My second one is Boston College at Duke. I'm taking Cameron Boozer higher than 23.5 points. This is a guy that Duke struggled against BC a couple weeks ago. They ended up pulling it towards the end, but BC kind of gave him a run for the money at home. Cameron Boozer is a guy who's done really well in Cameron Indoor, especially with the addition of Isaiah Evans really stepping up in these past couple weeks. I think Cam Boozer has the ability to soar over this number. Do you guys have a triple punch that you want to give out before we head out?
Go ahead, Curtis.
I'll give out mine. Yeah, Miami of Ohio and Buffalo. I'm going to do an alternate over of 161.5. It's like minus 164. All of their games are at least getting to the 160 mark when they're on the road. So they're scoring a lot of points and they're giving up a lot on defense as well. So alternate over 161.5, Miami of Ohio and Buffalo.
Yep. Romans is Heat money line tonight. JR, what's yours?
Draymond Green over 4.5 assists. He's 6 straight games where he's been over this. It's a little higher on the odds, but for the triple to get it compounded in, minus 186, we'll take it.
I like those. But I appreciate you guys for having me on. It's always fun to talk ball with y'all and talk bets with y'all. Hopefully I can get on here with you guys soon. I appreciate you guys. Let's go punch those tickets, boys.
Punch them tickets.
Punch those tickets.